Ontonagon Road Commission reorganizational / regular meeting, January 7th. It's 3 o'clock. We'll start pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we'll start the reorganization process. Looking for nominations for chairman.
Nominate Jerry for chairman. I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Jerry, you are the chairman for 2026, so I'll let you take over.
Okay. And do we have a nomination for the vice chairman?
I nominate Kenny.
Is there I'll second that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Set a date for our regular meetings.
I don't see any reason to change it. I would say second Wednesday, 9 a.m.
Sounds good.
Do we have a motion for that?
I make a motion.
Do we have a motion? Support?
Second it.
Ken supported. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Passed. Appointment for manager. I'll make a motion for Dale. I mean for Ryan. Yes. Appoint Ryan as manager. Is there a support for that?
I support it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And for the clerk, I'll also make a motion that Jackie, yes. Any support?
I support it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of the agenda.
I'm going to add E and F. So E is looking for approval for greater purchase that's coming up here in February. And then F is going to be, I want to discuss the 5 mills countywide village. So we'll take a little time for that today.
So you're doing that right now, then? Can you read it?
Well, no, we'll wait till we get to new business. Or, yeah, we'll wait till we get to new business. So that's E and F. So maybe the approval of the agenda with those added to it.
Ken made a motion to, so support? I support it. Dale supported. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, number 4, approval of the minutes of last December 10th meeting. Any additions or corrections to that? If not, will somebody make a motion to accept?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from December. I'll second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The public comment on the agenda, 3-minute limit thing.
Good, thank you.
So, Jackie, would you read the paid bills and safety checks?
All right, December 2025, $846,704.07. The safety checks, $4,155.35. Payroll, November 15th through the November 28th, $122,520.89. Payroll, November 29th through December 12th, $150,155.06. And payroll, December 13th through the 26th, $152,255.94.
I'll make a motion to accept it as read. Is there a second to that?
Second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Jacobs.
Okay, manager's report. This one around first. So December review. Did go to the Northern Conference down in Harbor Springs. It was actually a pretty good conference. Lots of good information on this new transportation funding package, TFP for short. And then from that, once I got a little better direction, I'm kind of working on some of the funding clarifications and options for townships. Of course, that is something new kind of every day changing on that, but for the most part, I think we got a pretty good idea. We did have our regional task force meeting in December on the 17th. And then we are doing the MDOT federal aid buyout for 2027 federal aid dollars. So that was actually yesterday. I submitted those applications for that. And then working on the request for proposal for the big and little iron bridge work. I guess I'll talk about that in a minute. January focus. So trying to get ready for township meetings. We want to have a meeting coming up here at the end of the month to talk about the transportation funding package and do a little presentation to all the townships. And of course, it's our Act 51 at that time of year. So Jackie's been cranking away on it. I think she's getting close, ready to hand it over to me. And then also a lot of Act 51 road stuff. Every year I'm trying to go through our Act 51 maps, and if there's changes that need to be made, or modifications, which I do have. It seems like every year I find something new, so I'm trying to get that stuff ready, because those are due end of March. So current projects, so the federal aid road flood damage site, so that's the south boundary and the Norwich, really nothing happening there. The south boundary paving did get pushed to next year. Hopefully it can dry out. The Misery Bay damage from the big rain dump this summer. Still kind of working on permits. The ER program, the federal ER program, I haven't heard anything on. Everything's in place, waiting for the feds to get back to MDOT to kind of review all the data. I did have Trout Unlimited. They got a hold of me. They asked if they could help out in any way, and so I put them on one of the culverts. Yeah, and of course, it needs a 5-foot culvert in there. Well, they want to put a 10-foot culvert in there and make it happy for fish to go through. So I told them, I said, that's fine, but I said, at the end of the day, what's required is a 5-footer. And the county will pay for a 5-footer. I said, if you want anything else above that, I said, I'm fine. And I said, I think it would be a good project for us to do, but I said, we can't, it's not fair to the taxpayers to do that, right?
Right.
So they went back on their end to try to look for some funding to kind of make up the difference. And so they're working on that aspect right now. I mean, at the end of the day, we could get our permit done and it would be a 5-foot culvert that goes in there. If they want anything more, we'll see if they can come up with the money. So, but like I said, I think it would be a fun project for us. I think it would be pretty interesting. We would do the work ourselves. But like I said, it's not something I don't want to pay for 100%. So, new bridge on Bond Falls over the Middle Branch. Okay, so we were hoping for a February letting. It looks like that's going to be April. We're still kind of back and forth with FERC on this drilling plan, but the biggest thing is that we got the Eagle permit approved, but there's this Scenic Rivers Act that the Middle Branch is a part of, and there's more federal level improvement that needs to be done. And so we got everything before Christmas, and of course Christmas and New Year's nobody's around, So we're waiting to hear back from the feds on that, and but that's going to push us back to April letting, which is okay. We can probably still get the bridge built this summer with an April letting, but if it gets anything past that, it won't get done this summer. It'll be, hopefully we can get the project let, but the construction probably won't happen until 2028. So Depot and Rusaw Road, hopefully we're going to have a bid opening next month for that. Also, we'll have a bid opening hopefully next month for our local paving. Coleman is going to get stuff in the paper here, advertisements this month yet. Bridge rehabilitation on Lakeshore Drive over the fire steel, that project is in process. Bridge rehabilitation on 107th Memorial Drive over the Little and Big Iron River. So that's the one where I have the request for proposal done for the Little Iron. I'm waiting to hear if we're gonna get money for the Big Iron. If we're gonna get money for the Big Iron, I'm gonna bundle the projects together and just put out one proposal, because the projects are basically the same. It's a new deck with painting. So I'm supposed to be getting a letter saying that we get money for the Big Iron also. I just haven't got that yet, so I'm gonna hold off on getting that RFP put out. And then Mass City Chemical Storage Facility upgrade. So I did get an email from MDOT saying that we're getting a new salt shed in Mass City in 2028. The problem is, in my opinion, is that they're saying it's gonna be $3 million. And we're supposed to cover 12% of that, because that's how much of our salt we put in there. That's $350,000. And I have a hard time believing a shell to put salt in is gonna cost $3 million. So once I get the letter, I wanna work with MDOT a little bit to see, obviously I'm not gonna turn the money down, right? We need a new salt shed. But honestly, from what I've already researched, if they gave me $3 million, I could put salt sheds at 3 other garages. So I'm a little miffed on, but I don't know all the details. So I'm gonna wait and see here, wait and get a letter from MDOT, kind of get the details. It is a cost share. They're 88%, we're 12%. Again, for 2028 to have to chop off $350,000, that's a lot of money for us that we don't necessarily have maybe in the budget without sacrificing something else. So that being said, there's more to be had on that. So, and that's my manager's report.
Okay, want to move on to old business, Brian?
Yeah, Western Star trucks, almost ready for winter operation. These are the 2 that just came from the builder. We've got one that's got a pretty significant body lean we're trying to figure out. Trying to get the Grizzlies built for the other one. Once you're in winter operations and you're constantly chasing problems, it's hard to put guys on these other projects. So this week I grabbed one of the drivers that is, he's a lot of times he's a mechanic helper for us. He's up here on the north end this week trying to cut loose, one of the normal mechanics to get focused on these new trucks. Hopefully get them out on the road here pretty quick. So almost ready. Still working through some issues. So I talked about this last meeting. I did reserve Lake Superior Sportsman's Club. So for basically a township, it's just an open meeting. Anybody can show up. We've invited all the townships, so we sent out in each township letter an invitation. Said it's strongly encouraged that they attend. But basically I want to kind of talk about this transportation funding package that was just passed through the legislature for Michigan. And so it's January 28th, so that's a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. They have a great conference room there. They got a big TV I can plug my computer into. And so with that, I think everything should be set for that. Of course, we want you guys there, obviously. I'll go through the presentation. I want to walk through the presentation a little bit today, and then give it to you guys to take home and just, I guess, take a look at it. If you got anything, you can spit it at me and we can make adjustments. But I guess that gets us to new business, is reviewing the presentation. So pretty basic. Ended up being over a few more pages than I thought. But what I thought I would do is, I think there's a lot of people that Well, A, they don't know how many roads we have, what type of roads there are, and how we get funding for the roads. So I figured I'd start there. So what road funding in 2025 looks like, the types of roads that we have in Ontonagon County. So we have major collector roads, 173 miles of those. I list them out there. We have minor collector roads, 38, almost 39 miles of that. I list those out there. And then we have one minor arterial, which is Forest Highway 16. And then on the right-hand side, I talk about what that funding is and, how we actually pay to upkeep those roads or where that money comes from. So probably a little educational for you guys too, honestly. So that's page one. Page two, then we get into the actual primary and local roads. And then, as you can see, the local roads, 360 miles of local roads, which is obviously the lion's share of the roads. There's too many to list. And where the funding comes from that, and that's as of 2025. And then we get into basically how the Michigan Transportation Fund, where the revenue comes from for that. Obviously, it's fuel tax. It's when you pay your registration fee, and then there's what people actually don't realize is that they pay a sales tax at the pump, which used to go for schools, and now that went away. And now, when you look at the transportation fund package, that's actually a straight another increase at the pump, basically 20 cents, which is kind of a wash if you take away the sales tax. That's going to be new revenue. So all the tax at the pump basically goes to roads now, where before, went to the schools and some other things, and actually some township stuff too. And then you have this new corporate income tax, and then you got the marijuana tax, which is a pretty big chunk, 24% increase at the marijuana. And that is actually, the court just approved, I think yesterday. The state wanted to make it so you couldn't, how did I say that? The state went to court saying that you can't tax marijuana at 24%. The state said, no, we can, and our judge just upheld and said, okay, we're going to go and investigate this. So we're still not 100% on the marijuana tax. So anyways, that's kind of how we get the new transportation money. Talks about this neighborhood road fund, which is the marijuana tax, corporate income tax, and then how the neighborhood road fund is kind of spent. It's basically the same as what the MTF is, but the key is, if you look on the right-hand side, the neighborhood road fund there's no match required. Where if you think about what the MTF is today, if we're going to do a road in a township, we have to have 50% match for the funding to do that road. Where this new neighborhood road fund, that was the big stipulation, is that there is no match, right? So we don't have to have the townships or somebody else or any, we can just spend that money on the road without having a match. So that's a big deal. And then it kind of talks about the impacts to the townships, to us, where that's going to be money-wise, as far as what our new revenue is going to look like in 2026 and 2027. You look on the right-hand side, because of the sales tax went away, the townships took a little bit of hit on their revenue too. Not huge, but it is something. Haight Township lost $546. So, and then finally, I kind of looked at, what the actual breakout for local road miles, primary road miles, and population was at each of the townships, and how maybe the best way to break out that money or divide it up amongst the townships. I think we do it by local roads, percentage of local roads. That seems to be pretty fair. There's 2026 and 2027, basically money, if we do it that way, for each township to spend on roads. And then I basically, before people get too excited and say, oh geez, I got money to put on roads, I also share what the 2026 projects, what those are gonna cost for the town, some of the townships. You know, Berglund's project, you know, if you look at the cost per mile, is $724,000 a mile for their project, right? Greenland's at $360,000 a mile, and the big one, Carp Lake, is $953,000 a mile, essentially, because of the project type, right? We're doing more than just putting blacktop down, you know, so anyways, that's pretty much it. The last page is just kind of saying that 2026, this is what it's already, the paving schedule is kind of already set. We're going out for bids. But 2027, you know, we need to get some feedback from the townships on, you know, what we want to do. So, or what the townships would like to do. You know, do they want to pave? Do they want to, you know, and I thought there's things that maybe the road commission could do. You know, we don't have like a good patching machine. You know, maybe we invest in a patching machine to help keep our roads, you know, in better shape. Gogebic, they got patching machines. Holton County, Baraga
We
County.
rented one last year.
We rented one last year, and I think it would be a good investment for us. Maybe we'll use some money for that, you know. So I think there's options out there. I think it's good just to get all the stakeholders in a room and actually just kind of talk about it and see what everybody's got to say.
So I know there's no match. Is it gonna hurt us? Because we don't get that 50% from that mark.
Well, obviously, we're not going to be able to pay this much, right? Because we don't have the matching funds. But it's a pretty good chunk of money too, you know. So, and I think honestly, if the townships, like I've said this before, you know, if you come out of basically Ewan, go south on Choate Road to Amber Lake Road, take Amber Lake Road over to 45, go from 45 to Hamanka Hill, all the way up to, actually go all the way up South Painesville Road to 28 again. There's 4 townships involved in that. If we put their money together, we could actually do some pretty good work on that road. Right. That's a major thoroughfare on the south end that people use all the time. And those roads are starting to really show their age. And if we could do something there now to fix them up and get another 15 years of life out of them, that'd be money well spent. You know, there's actually, we don't have enough money to repave all that because that's over 15 miles. But boy, double chip seal, that'd be great, honestly. Double chip seal with lane markings on there, that'd be a great project for the south end. So just stuff like that I think is good to bring up, and anyways, talk to the townships about, and squash any rumors and stuff like that, you know, that I'm sure people are hearing. So
any other questions from?
No.
Okay, so upcoming public hearing on seasonal roads in Berglund and Bohemia Township. So, did you guys get that public notice? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
I sent it to you.
Okay, so I figured the best thing to do, since there's 90 roads that possibly could be seasonal roads, is to bite it off a couple townships at a time, and so we just have to put out another public notice in the paper the week before the February board meeting, but we'll do the public hearing before the board meeting at 9 o'clock, and then we'll have our board meeting after. So I think there's, 20 roads or something that we'll go through. I'll have the maps ready, and I don't know if anybody's gonna show up. I think they're pretty low volume roads, not very many people, some of them, you can't even hardly tell the roads. This is a start to kind of get our map going for our seasonal road map, so.
Well, that's when our next meeting is gonna be then?
That'll be, the next meeting will be, was it February 11th?
Yeah,
We didn't do that, did we? Oh,
no, we didn't mention it with the meeting. That's okay.
We're gonna go by when it is for that public hearing thing?
Yes,
That's the meeting will be?
yes, so the next meeting will be February 11th.
9 AM?
February 11th at 9 a.m. Okay, next, AEDs. So, this was talked about when we lost our emergency room here in Ontonagon County. Basically don't have a hospital anymore. You know, we originally kind of talked about maybe getting the guys a little better first aid training, getting some defibrillators. It's been kind of on the back burner. And we had a driver this winter, actually, I don't know if it was a stroke. They're calling it something else, but one doctor is still saying stroke. And that's a good, honestly, that was a great plug for Samsara, because the guys heard something on the radio. They couldn't make it out. He was having trouble communicating, but they knew who it was. Tom called me and says, hey, can you go and find out where this driver is? And I was able to find out exactly where he was at. Called Bailey. He went there right away. We were able to get him out of the truck. And actually took him from the truck all the way into Mass at Merritt's and met the ambulance there. So he ended up in Baraga. He's fine. He's not going to be driving for us this winter, obviously, with what they think happened. But they kind of got me going on this AED thing again. And so, not cheap. I've asked about grants, and, you know, talking to Mike Coker. I said, hey, you know, do you guys have a recommendation? Do you have an avenue to get some of this stuff? And so he went to the ambulance group and basically said, hey, what do you guys use? And they use these Zoll AED Plus value packs. Well, this one's come with a container, a box to put them in or whatever. But so I'm thinking we need to get probably 7 of these.
Sure thing.
$2,100 a piece. So that's almost $15,000. But that would put one in each garage. And then I want to get Roger, see if I can get Roger Hopla to do some training this spring. We haven't done CPR in a long time.
Quite often.
Yeah, and the guys can't remember the last time they did it. So I think it's a good idea. We'll get some first aid CPR training. We'll do the training on these AEDs in the spring. Pretty tough now with winter operations, but once we get kind of a little lull period before construction season, I'll see if I can get Roger in to come give us a hand. But it's almost $15,000. So maybe get a motion if you guys agree that we should get them put up in the garage and then have them.
I'll make that motion because.
We want to get them all the way till we have the training.
Huh?
Do we want to get them things right now or wait till we get the training?
They say pretty good on the package.
Yeah,
They talk you through it, there's a recording and stuff, push
yeah.
the main button and then it'll
Right.
tell you what next step to go to and everything else.
They're pretty automatic.
Yeah.
I think what I'd like to do is get them ordered. When we get a lull like we have, today when it's nice out, we can have one of the guys, get the boxes up in the garage and get them put in place, and then we'll have Roger come. But like Dale says, these are fully automatic. It tells you exactly where to stick the things,
Right.
and you hit the button, and it talks you through the whole 9 yards. So I think at the end of the day, I feel better just getting them here, and we'll get the guys trained up this spring.
Yeah, it's not difficult training. I mean, like I said, it'll tell you exactly what to do.
Right.
Walk you right through it. But yeah, I would second that motion.
You have a roll call vote on this one? Jackie?
Yes, Mattson,
Yes.
Truskett.
Yep.
Cartman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,